Hey, you know how it is, the first few minutes at the office, it's your time to have some coffee, right? We're the same way on
Hang out
this
with
show.
your friends until each.
Yeah, we're not going to get any work done.
No, we're just going to chit chat for like at least 2 hours.
Exactly. Tom Altamirano is here, our friends from New Mexico Pinon Coffee Company. Hello, Tom.
Hello, how are you guys?
We're so glad you're here, Tom.
I'm glad to be here.
So
Timing
great.
is very good.
I know, right? It's early in the morning.
Yeah. Good to have you. What's going on with New Mexico Pinon Coffee these days?
So we're busy as ever. Filling orders every day. We have those K-cups moving. Just busy as ever, really. So
And they serve your coffee in some really great places that I love.
Definitely. They serve our coffee in Our Cafe. There's a couple other places in town where you can also buy a cup of our brewed coffee. Duke City Donuts, we have a nice partnership with them.
Nice.
So they sell our coffee. Yeah.
Very
Yummy.
good. Coffee
You
and donuts
bet.
goes well
Absolutely.
together.
You bet.
I see you poured a lot of coffee here, and what are we going to do today?
I did. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, the different roast levels of coffee. So when you go to the store, basically the most basic idea of how your coffee will taste, whether you buy a dark roast or medium roast, is that roast level. So I brought a couple samples here. We can try a medium roast, and then we'll try a dark roast. Just kind of compare and contrast the two.
I like. Okay.
Definitely.
And there's some really, really light beans over there.
Yes. So coffee actually begins its journey as a cherry, and those cherries are then harvested, and then these are the pits of those cherries. What we call coffee beans are actually cherry pits. So we buy the coffee like this, in its unroasted form, which are green beans, and then we put a roast level on those green beans to give it its flavor profile.
I see. So you have the lighter beans, you have the kind of medium beans, and the dark beans.
You're exactly right. Simple as that.
Hey, I figured it out.
He's right.
So the light beans, are those ready to roast? Or?
Yeah, so those are ready to roast. Those have been harvested and processed, and then we put them into our 75-pound roaster. We're a micro batch roaster. Anytime you're roasting under 100 pounds at a time, you're what's considered a micro batch. So we put those in our micro batch roaster, and then our end product is either our medium or our dark.
Okay.
And there's different characteristics associated with each roast. So the medium roast will be a little more brighter, more acidic. When you reach the dark roast, you've really roasted all of the acid out of the coffee, and you really get a smoky kind of charred taste, typically with the dark roast.
Now that's you just dispelled a myth. People think that the lighter roast isn't as bitter, but it may turn out to be more bitter.
Yeah, definitely. Typically the dark roast will still be a little more bitter,
Really?
but the medium roast will have a brighter, more acidic flavor.
I see.
So
Don't mistake acidity with bitterness.
yes, that's a very good point.
Thank you.
Sour and bitter. There you go.
Okay. So can we try some here?
You bet.
The
Absolutely.
unmarked
Let's
cup
get
is
into
the
it.
medium, right?
So yes, let's start with our medium. So as we taste the coffee, the first thing we're going to notice is that acidity. Your receptors are in the front of your tongue. So that's when you'll notice the acidity, and then it should be pretty smooth in the back. No bitterness.
Thank you, Tom.
Ooh,
Cheers.
that's nice.
You bet.
That is nice.
Yeah. Yes.
So you notice that right up front you get those really acidic notes. You have some citrus flavors, some nuttiness going on there.
Yeah.
It definitely wakes you up. Just,
Yes, absolutely.
Just dealing with all those flavors wakes
Yeah,
you up,
that's
and then the
really
aroma.
nice.
You betcha. And then we can get into the dark here. So
Okay.
the dark will be much less acidic. Dark is what you'll use to make espresso because you don't want those acids in the coffee. So you'll notice it less up front, but then it has like a dark chocolate bitterness on the finish.
You're right. You're right.
It's all
So
good.
much less up front, but then you have that nice kind of dark chocolate, as I would describe bitterness. So.
Now, see, I thought I was going to like the medium better than the dark, but it's the opposite.
Yes, absolutely. We do that coffee 101 class that I've been talking about before, and that's a common theme. A lot of people come in and think they're a huge fan of medium roast coffee, but then once they try the dark roast, they actually prefer the dark. So we offer both. We have a medium or a dark. It just comes down to personal preference. They each have their own unique characteristics about it.
So in the notes, you speak about 4 levels, which are 4 levels of the city roast?
Yes, so another term for a medium roast is a city roast. So within that medium roast, there's a whole spectrum of roasts. So you start with what's your city roast, then you have your city plus, then you go to your full city and your full city plus. And it's just, you know, a gauge of the darkness in the roast. And the difference between a medium roast and a dark roast is that you're just roasting the dark roast longer. You're basically just roasting it for a longer amount of time.
Can you talk about the roasting process a little bit? Does the coffee just sit in there, or is there a thing that moves it around?
Yes,
Or?
there's a nice
check
picture
that
of our 75-pound roaster right there.
Okay.
So that big black circle is the actual roasting drum. So this roast is being dropped into our cooling tray.
Okay.
So the inside that black drum is where it actually roasts. And inside there, it's just like a clothes dryer at home. It has the
Really?
agitator arms, and it rotates. And then a flame is applied to the bottom of that roaster. So in theory, you know, everything should get a nice even roast.
I see.
And there's a picture of the coffee cherries right there. So
that's beautiful.
coffee actually starts out as a cherry, and then what we call the beans are actually the cherry pits.
So where do your beans come from?
We use beans from all over the world. We buy our coffee from a coffee broker who is constantly sending us samples. And then we roast those samples, taste the samples just like we did here. And then we'll see if that's something we want to buy. Typically, we do use almost exclusively Central and South American coffees. But we have used Asian, we have used, you know, coffees from all over the world.
The Indonesian coffees are my personal favorite.
Yes.
Sumatra.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You bet.
love
Those
Sumatra.
Those are very popular right now, and those handle a dark roast very well. So a lot of those Asian coffees.
And you
take on
don't need
that
to
dark
drink a
roast.
lot of it. When there's
No.
this kind of quality of coffee, you
This
just
is-
need one good cup and you're
I'm
good.
really-
There you go.
I'm
right,
into
you
this
bet.
dark right now. This
Yeah.
is really nice.
It's
Good to
every bit
hear.
as complex. Like my husband loves good coffee. He doesn't drink anymore, and I love how he describes coffee. He says it's every bit as complex as a wine or as a good scotch, and it's really hard to travel when you get used to such great coffee at home, and then you go to a 5-star, 4 or whatever nice resort, and you get, you know, a Dewar's and Egbert, something really awful that it's like liquid, yucky mess, pre-made coffee. It actually almost sent me home from a trip one time because I was
Yeah.
so grumpy I didn't have my
no.
Sumatra.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to start bringing your own coffee on your journey.
Well, we do. We bring our French press, and we actually
Oh,
carry
there
it
you- the
out
whole
there.
setup, huh?
I am.
Nice.
It's high maintenance. We're that
Very
addicted
good.
to good coffee. And then the
good.
3 levels of the dark roast, Tom. The Vienna.
Yeah.
Can you speak about
So
those?
sure. So just like I was saying, there's four levels of medium. There's 3 levels of dark. So your first level is going to be your Vienna roast. Then you'll hit an Italian roast, and then your last level will be your French roast. And those are again just the 3 levels of darkness you could say within the dark roast themselves. So typically you might use about an Italian range if you're brewing espresso. But anything else, you know, just comes down to personal preference.
Sure.
So we offer both an Italian and a French roast, available, you know, either through our storefront or website or.
What's the
wherever
most
you buy your coffee.
popular?
The most popular is our traditional Pinon medium roast. That's our most popular.
So a lot of
product.
that stuff.
That's the daily drinker.
You bet. Yeah, that's our bread and butter. So.
Good.
Now, are we total coffee snobs down there? You don't put any cream, milk, or sugar in your coffee?
Oh no, we use cream and sugar down there. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we're definitely not, you know, that snobby that we're anti cream and sugar.
Okay,
So
good.
certainly.
You know, I'm enjoying it without, but I normally just put some milk or. I like the flavored creams in my coffee too.
Yeah, I like to dump a bunch of a bunch of sugar in there, like 3 or 4 sugars and a bunch
Oh,
of cream,
boy.
and then whipped cream on the top.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
wow,
I never
you're going
drink
Is that your
coffee.
weekend coffee?
That's my daily coffee.
That's your
Every
daily.
morning, Craig brings me a cup of coffee with the whipped cream and then chocolate shavings on it.
What a guy.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
That's how it is. That's how I roll. Do you?
Yeah.
I can give it. Everybody, you know, I'll give you his
Well,
number
come
after the
over for
show.
coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on
seriously.
over.
I'd like to see him shave the
He
chocolate.
does it. He actually does it, and it's Godiva chocolate too.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Jeez.
It's-
Okay.
I'm spoiled.
So even the coffee guy is.
I know, I'm blown away by these drinks happening at your house.
If people haven't tried New Mexico Pinon coffee, we highly suggest it. First of all, because they're a New Mexico company.
Local company, yes.
And secondly, it's really good
It's
coffee.
delicious.
And you send it all over the world, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. We ship internationally. We've shipped all over the world, every state.
And you sell
all
it at
over.
the airport too, I see.
Yes, we do have.
You have a kiosk there.
Yes, we have a wholesale account at the airport, so they sell our coffee there. We're in a lot of gift shops. Any place, you know, down in Old Town will most likely have our coffee. It's just a nice taste, nice touch of New Mexico.
Now, we've had you on talking about Coffee 101 before.
Yeah.
Is there another one coming up?
There are. Our next 2 dates are going to be August 2nd or August 16th. You can sign up either online or give us a call and we'll reserve you a seat.
Very good.
Definitely.
And Tom teaches that class, so
do
it's
indeed.
really a couple hours worth of coffee knowledge that you'll come away knowing a little bit more about what's in your
There
cup.
you go, right? A little bit higher appreciation.
And you'll
That's
have
it.
a buzz for the rest of the day.
You bet.
We always love our friends at New Mexico Pinon Coffee Company. We drink it every day here on the
Absolutely.
Morning Brew, and thanks for bringing this by. It's
Of course, my pleasure.
very tasty.
Thanks so much for having us on.
Tom Altamirano with New Mexico Pinon Coffee Company. Coming up next, Rosalinda Roman will be here. New season of New Mexicast here on this channel, and we'll meet her after this.